In this video, I'm going to share with you 7 items that I found to be essential to a freelance videographer and make them more valuable. Number 1 on the list is a telephoto lens. This is so important if you're trying to get hired for any type of event videography. When I used to shoot weddings as a second or third shooter, I would always get asked if I had a telephoto lens. And when I first started, I didn't have one, and it really limited how much I was able to make and even lost me plenty of opportunities. When you're a second or third shooter, you're probably not going to get asked to get any of the creative type of shots. They're going to ask you to get the shots that they absolutely need. So this could be close-ups of the bride and groom at the ceremony. It could be the maid of honor and the best man giving their toast at the reception. Or it could look like getting the tight shots of speakers at a conference. A telephoto lens is definitely worth the investment, even if you don't use it all the time, because it's one of the most frequently rented pieces of gear on private rental sites. Number 2 on the list is a reliable heavy-duty tripod. So around the time that I bought my first gimbal, I had also got hired for the first time to be a third shooter at a wedding. And I remember thinking, I'm a legit videographer now because I have a gimbal and I can't wait to use this. It turns out that they didn't have me use the gimbal at all, and they had me get shots that required a tripod. And the only tripod that I had was a very cheap travel tripod. So I not only looked like an amateur, but the shots that I got also looked very amateur. You never know if the person or team that hired you might need an additional angle that needs to be on a tripod. So it's always good to have one on hand. And if you're gonna get hired to lead a project, you're not going to be able to do any type of talking head videos or video interviews if you don't have a tripod. Number 3 is various grip and audio equipment. So this is one that I learned from an experience of hiring on a freelancer. There was one shoot where we desperately needed sandbags because we were booming a heavy light over a subject, and my buddy, whom I often hire on for video shoots, had them with him because he's a responsible professional unlike me. Additional equipment that I found to be really useful on a shoot could be things like extra light stands, clamps, cloth tape, or audio cables like XLR cables and 1/4-inch cables. When you're able to provide items like this to the team, it just shows how prepared and how professional you really are. Now, I can't make this video without talking cameras. There are plenty of great brands and options, but if we're being honest, you have a huge advantage if you have a flagship mirrorless camera from either Sony or Canon. The fact is that many modern day media and video production businesses shoot with either Sony or Canon, and they're looking for freelancers that shoot with one of those systems because it makes their workflow a lot easier. So I personally use Sony, and I really dislike having to edit footage from other camera brands. So much so that I just bought 3 Sonys so that I could have other freelancers use my cameras. Now, obviously, there are different markets of freelancers. People buy Reds, ARRIs, and cinema cameras from Canon or Sony to get jobs that require those cameras. But the market for video quality that you can get from these prosumer mirrorless cameras just keeps growing, which is why Sony and Canon are killing it. Number 5 is a pair of headphones. This is something that you can carry along with you very easily, is very cheap, and is very useful and sometimes a necessity. Whether you're shooting a corporate interview or an event, you're likely going to be recording multiple sources of audio. Having a pair of headphones to be able to check audio once in a while from the soundboard, a camera, or another audio recorder is going to give the main videographer peace of mind and make the job a lot easier. Number 6 is a powerful video light. If you're coming on as a second shooter or an assistant, you're likely not going to be asked to provide any lighting, but you never know when an extra light could really add that little bit of accent or pop that the main videographer is looking for in their shot. But if you're being asked to fill in as the lead on a video shoot and there's some type of video interview or talking head, then you're definitely gonna need your own lighting. And in a lot of cases, a powerful key light paired with a really large softbox is gonna be enough. And it's actually really affordable nowadays. You can get something like a Godox VL300 for around $600, and it's gonna do the job great. Number 7 is gimbals. Now, I know I made it seem like you didn't need one when I was talking about the tripods, but it's actually really valuable to have one. There have been plenty of videos where we actually needed 2 gimbals, like when we're doing walkthrough house tours and there's plenty of talking head. You might be shooting some BTS for another videographer and they want you to shoot with a gimbal to get smooth footage. And if you are asked to get B-roll at a wedding, a conference, or a real estate shoot, then you are gonna need that gimbal to get those nice, clean, smooth shots. Even if you don't prefer to use gimbals, there's no doubting that it's a very useful tool and sometimes necessary in modern day videography and filmmaking. Keeping your gear organized in a professional case is also very important as a freelance videographer. If you wanna see what I carry in mine, watch this video right here. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.